Jeff Mays. Jeff, introduce yourself. Tell them who you are, how long you've been doing this, what market you actually are in.
I'm actually, this is Jeff from Phoenix Power Wash Pros. I'm actually in Ron's market, a very, 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 very competitive market. There's probably got to be 1,000 pressure washers in our town. But
when you say competitive, 1,000, I think there could be 1,000 more, Jeff, and it wouldn't affect us.
I think I'm wrong. I know the guy that I buy my stuff from. He builds 2 or 3 trailers a week right now, and there are a lot of new guys. We call them COVID washers here, that are tired of the mainstream world and stepping up in the becoming entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and the funniest thing is all my career, 37 years. I won't mention the distributors, but the 3 main distributors in Phoenix, located in Phoenix. Your guys located on the outskirts of town, but the 3 guys that have always been downtown. They've always said they've built solid every week for the last 30 years. 2 units every week go out their door for contract cleaners. 2 units. And that's a lot of units when you really think about it in our market. And I think there's more than 1,000 guys. People don't realize we're the 5th largest city in the nation. And I think there's a lot more. Hey guys, if you guys chime in below and ask us some sales questions, we're more than happy to answer them, guys. Chime in, and then I'll put a link up, and you guys can get some of these great safety stickers. I'm always going to give away some shirts, guys. It's always going to happen. I got shirts here, guys. If you guys want to win a shirt, can't win an instructor shirt, but we can definitely get you. We can definitely get you one of the. Who knows? Maybe I got some of these garage cleaning shirts from John Tornabene left over. But guys, ask some questions as you chime in, and I'll be giving some prizes away. Hey Jeff, I want to ask you a question because we're talking.
Hey, real quick, you asked how many years. In the pressure washing world, 25 years. In commercial cleaning world, over 40. So everything from redoing VCT tiles in law offices to
Jeff's got a lot of experience. Lots of experience.
Trying to make concrete grow.
And your experience is primarily in commercial now, especially, right? I mean, you're
100%.
Yeah, you're 100%. Yeah, if we do a driveway or a house for somebody, it's a friend.
Yeah, it's usually a customer. It's a customer or a manager.
Customer or a friend, right? We're doing something for them. We're handling it. Hey,
so cringe.
So Jeff, in the sales process, I think they overthink this, right? There's no magical thing, right? It's networking with people and building relationships. Isn't that really the number one thing?
1,000%. Networking, and even over that is building relationships. I mean, I know we've been talking about. I put up a post a couple of weeks back on the LinkedIn stuff, and I'll tell you, if you don't, and somebody else, was it Lattimore? Somebody like that just posted also on that they just landed a parking garage on. I don't know. They're probably watching this. I don't know who it was, but they just landed a parking garage off of a request on LinkedIn, and I just landed 90 monthly accounts off of a relationship off of LinkedIn that they messaged me about. I didn't reach out to them. They reached out to me.
You know what? I'm going to grab my LinkedIn right now. I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to go to my LinkedIn and I'm going to I'm going to put up my LinkedIn if these guys want to hook up with me. Now, guys, remember this. A lot of these guys, even Marco, when he teaches a class, he says, hey, don't have your competitors on there. For me, it doesn't bother me one bit. I don't have any real issues. I've got all my competitors on there. You guys will see I got 10,000 contacts on there. I think the bigger and better my LinkedIn is, whether it's contractors, whoever it is, I think it doesn't really matter, man. I don't think it matters. And I think you got to learn how to control your profile too, right, Jeff? I mean, you don't got to let your contacts be public out there if you don't want to be public. If there's
somebody messaged me and said they can't find me on LinkedIn, so they didn't believe I was on LinkedIn and what I was saying, what they were saying. I said, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Marco kind of gets into that. I mean, we're and in a very competitive market, and there's some people out there that like me, some people out there that don't like me, and I really don't. That doesn't hurt my feelings either way. Me and Ron, I've known Ron for years. We're friends. If he needs something done, I'll be there. I need something done, he's there. Not an issue whatsoever.
No.
Whenever time or day,
No, and I've trained,
you have to work. I don't consider Ron competition. I consider Ron a partner in business, if you want to say that. We all have one job to do.
Hell, man, I loaned you a vacuum cleaner one time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's no big deal. How many days did you use that thing? One day? And
a couple. It
couple
was
days,
it was
couple
a
days?
Scirocco PV2. It was a fantastic.
Yeah, man. If you ever blow a pump or something and you can't get one immediately, then you can call me up. I probably got one on the shelf somewhere.
Yeah.
As long as you inbound one to me and replace it, there's always never any issues. Back in the day, man, we used to have seriously over $150,000 in parts. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I had every kind. I don't want to talk about the competitors in town here, but one of them was very frustrated because guys would always know they could call me up and go get the pump, and then all they had to do was just replace it for me and send it back to my shop, and there'd be no issues if we were friends. I mean, I didn't do that with strangers, obviously.
Right.
You just never know. But I mean, if I knew somebody, we would do it. But so in this relationship building process, let's give these guys some meat. So you reach out to them on LinkedIn, you reach out to them via emails, hard mail, and
only thing I do with LinkedIn is start a relationship as I friend request them. You have to have your ducks in a row first on your profile and that kind of stuff. But I just reach out to them and friend request them I don't care about the real estate agents. I don't care about any of that stuff. I look for facility managers, ops managers, owners, that type of stuff of, franchisees and that type of stuff. Reach out to them and I friend request them. If they accept my friend request, only thing that I respond back is thank you for the connection. I don't hard sell them. I don't do nothing other than that. Then you post stuff every now and then on LinkedIn and they follow you. They see what you post. And if they want you, they'll reach out. As soon as you hard sell them, you'll never see them again. Because
it's a never be selling with higher end commercial clients, isn't it?
Correct.
Never.
Doesn't matter what your political views are. Do not post them on there because you'll never get that customer.
The no-nos of it. The no-nos of it. Yeah.
Yep. And Marco, I think, goes over that. I'm not giving Marco a big plug, but his class, he spent hours and hours and hours developing his way to do it. And it's really cool that he's sharing it. I personally told him in Phoenix, I said last year or year before last, I said, please, why are you telling everybody our secrets? And he started laughing, and it's not a secret. I mean, it's another tool. It's another tool.
Tips. They're tips. So how much so when you're, and this isn't something, and people don't realize this, like I always talk about demos or sample cleanings or doing something for free for somebody. When you're first starting out, these are good strategies. Okay. I never let off of the basics. I would always send unsolicited proposals to only the people that I want. People don't really understand that. Like, I didn't sit there and send unsolicited proposals to units or things that I didn't want to get, because it's like, really, it's a silly thing. Always did, unsolicited proposal. We were basically followed up with a live demonstration if we could get one. Now, we didn't want to do it in the entire group, but I think, guys, I'm a little secret out of the bag. So if you have a group, and we'll just say a restaurant group, and I think Jeff knows this, and we'll find out if he does, there's always in that group key people inside that group, whether they're managers, whether they're DMs, or whether they're not, or a lot of times they're managers that are in grooming to become a district manager. And these units are called training units. And if you can designate and find out where their training units are, and what a training unit is where all of the startup employees come, or all of the managers they hire, they come there and they're trained underneath that group's, you want to call managers that were trained to train people. And basically, if you find those units and you can offer them maybe a free cleaning or a demonstration. A lot of times, this is the funniest thing, is some people don't realize this, Jeff, and we're going to shoot way over some people's heads here. But in order to work for any group, you have to be on their vendor list. And this is important. This is an important part of knowing commercial sales, because you might be able to sell like the Dickens. And I'm sure Jeff's got the story early on, not knowing this kind of strategy, where they'll hire you, but you'll be a cash customer, or a 1 or 2 times they'll cut you a check. And if you are not set up properly in their system, the general manager will get a call from corporate, the person that's the controller, and say, hey, why did you hire Jeff or Ron? They're not an approved vendor. You need to go to our approved vendor list. You need to fire Jeff and Ron, and you need to use who we have on the approved vendor list. Now, the manager really wants to use you, but at this point, their job could be in jeopardy because somebody put the hammer down and said, hey, man, why are you doing this? Now, getting back to that training unit, it's a training unit. So sometimes they're anxious to train people in the process. How do we get a purveyor on our vendor system? So it's a beautiful thing, because you're being used as a tool to get into their vendor system, because they're looking for somebody that they may want to utilize to put somebody through that process, so their own employees understand what it takes and how it works and the whole 9 yards. So remember this, guys. If you can find the training units, that's a huge tip for one. I know guys are going to, what's this got to do with commercial sales? He's talking about a vendor list. You cannot work for them until you are on the vendor list. Do you know how many tiers on the vendor list there are? You know how many?
Right now at the one I'm onboarding on, that I'm approved on right now, it's there's 4. There's 4. I've had to go. So, there's that,
and it's crazy, because if you're the top vendor, and a lot of guys don't understand this, if you're their exclusive top vendor, when you submit their invoices into their system, they're paid instantly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what we are.
If you're lower tier on it, it's going to take an approval process of 3 or 4 people. It's going to take you 45 to 90 days to get paid. We're also telling you guys a little bit of a secret. What do you always include on that dang invoice, Jeff? We always include the unit number, because Taco Bell or Burger King or McDonald's, they have no idea what unit you were at by an address, do they, Jeff?
Nope, absolutely.
That address doesn't mean nothing to them.
Nope.
You put the unit.
It's a numbers game.
You put the unit. You put the unit number. You put the unit number on the invoice. You put your vendor number on the invoice. All that stuff matters, and obviously, you want the general manager's name on the invoice of the unit. Sometimes that's a very difficult process, because Jeff and I know these managers, man. Sometimes, man, they will. I mean, these things they're gonna change like you change your socks, huh, Jeff?
I got a story. I'll even toss out who they were, because I don't care. Whoever in Phoenix wants them, I'll give you the contact number. But, but I used to do pre-pandemic and just a little bit post-pandemic. I did for the largest Taco Bell franchisee in the world. Lives in Scottsdale, Arizona. Runs 23 of the local restaurants out of his house. He owns, I think, 300 total. Super nice guy. But I submitted all the invoices per them to each store. Well, I get a phone call. I'm like, hey, you guys are 90 days behind. And they said, well, we're letting you go because you haven't been to any of your locations in 2 months. I said, really? Always take pictures and always have documentation, 100% key. I said, so where did you want me to send these 46 invoices? And he said, wait a minute, what? I said, yeah, because your managers don't open the email. Most of them, and I don't care what language you speak, don't speak English. And they didn't know what it was. So I lost them. And if you guys want them, I'll give you who it is. I don't care. I don't want them no more. I want the bigger and better things. But yeah. So
did you know a guy? I'm going to mention his name. Do you know Jeff Garrett?
No.
You know what? I'm gonna find Jeff Garrett on LinkedIn. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. Go ahead and keep talking, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean you just have to be very descriptive, I guess, of where they go, and if your vendor wants you to send them to each individual store, tell them that's kind of a bad idea on your part. You'll bill each individual store, but you want one contact for email or for billing. You don't need 23 billing contacts, and that's what Ron was talking about, the getting on a vendor list, and that's what he's talking about with like Service Channel and Conoco Pro and all these other big, huge companies, because that's trying to eliminate that. You love them or hate them, but that's where Walmart's and all your other big companies use them because they can't manage that stuff themselves, and Lord knows their store managers can.
Well, here you go, man. Look at this. I'll go ahead and give it to him right here. Here's the guy who is corporate Yum Foods.
Oh no, different guy. He's that is Yum Foods. This guy is the world.
Yeah, but let me explain to you how this works. So because he's a franchise operator, this guy here is still over them on corporate inspections.
Absolutely.
On corporate inspections, this is the guy right here. So with that said, here's another tactic.
With that said, I won't eat a Del Taco.
So so here's another tactic for you guys. If this is sales, this is what we're talking about, sales. So Jeff was working for the largest independent franchisee, okay? And I happen to know who he's talking about, and he's right. 10 years ago, they only had 200 locations. It was actually the first biggest sellout of Taco Bell's like 10 years ago. This guy that bought them, Jeff says they're up to 300 now. What I was going to tell you though is this: if it's McDonald's, it's Yum Foods, or any of these corporations that they're always going to have a hand over them from corporate. And if you can find out, like, I know the guy from, I'm not going to give the information for Chick-fil-A because that's such a great account, but this guy from Chick-fil-A, he travels all over the country, and he actually sources me for people all over the country to find people to wash their units. Because when he goes there, whether the manager's hired somebody or not that's inside of their network, their vendor list, what happens is they he will fire them, and he will take over and tell the manager, no, you're going to now start using these guys, and these are the guys you're going to use, and based upon my reinspection, we'll see if we keep them. And Jeff knows that Chick-fil-A is they're probably the gold standard for clean in the fast food industry. Some people might go, oh my gosh, my Chick-fil-A looks horrible, man. It's terrible. And it's volume. I mean, the bottom line is, Jeff and I know this, there's probably only one other place that competes with them, and that's In-N-Out Burger. Okay.
Cleanest restaurant in the world.
In-N-Out Burger is probably, if there's a platinum standard, they're platinum. Chick-fil-A's gold standard, and these two places. And the funniest thing in the world is, no one will believe this one. They do it themselves. In-N-Out Burger does it themselves. They actually have
not hire out.
They have their own units, and they clean it themselves, and they actually do probably a better job than anyone does it. So guys are like, why are you telling us this, Ron, about sales and stuff like that? Because the bottom line is you have to understand how these processes work. And another one is here's the funniest thing in the world, and I don't know if Jeff ever used this technique, but I'm gonna let this technique out of the bag. If you take a video and you've got a compelling demonstration on that property, and the manager really didn't do anything about it, like, because he just like, hey man, I don't have any budget money. Corporate, even though it's a filthy restaurant, I don't have any budget money. Send the video to marketing.
Oh yeah.
Marketing will find the dollars for the guy.
The only people that I know that don't really have the budget are low budget Chinese food restaurants and 7-Eleven.
Yeah,
I know there's people on here who clean 7-Elevens, but if they actually know that.
How many times have you ever had the marketing team call you, Jeff? Have you ever had them call you?
No, but that will work.
The marketing team, we use this strategy for a lot of years, and this is another one on LinkedIn that you can contact, because the marketing team is never looking to be sold. Okay, these facility managers, they got people barking down their thing, and that's why Jeff was saying don't bother them, because they'll just boom, they'll just X you out because they're being bombarded by people. The marketing team is not. The marketing team is being bombarded by people saying, "Hey, you want to use our printing? You want to use our da da da? Hey, we've got photographers. You want to use our drone services? Blah blah." And they got people trying to sell them marketing services to better their own ship, but they're never expecting to watch a video of a dirty store. So when you send the marketing team that dirty store and they're looking at the machine moving on the concrete and they're looking at how dirty it is, and then it pans up to their brand, that marketing team is not liking it. Okay.
Nope,
They're not liking it because they're trying to sell clean to the consumer. And here we are, we're not clean. So immediately somebody from marketing gets on the phone to the guy who makes the decisions. And then all of a sudden there's money in the budget.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you know, you've said it for years and years and years. I've known you for years and years, but you don't waste your time on dirty places. If they're dirty Chinese restaurants or dirty mom and pop restaurants, don't waste your time because they don't care, because the inside is just as bad. I'm gonna do a video of an Einstein's next time we're there, and it's this Einstein's by my house. My wife loves. I hate it, but I can actually. It's a perfect case to be able to show how dirty happens in a restaurant, and I'll do it nonchalant. As you can literally see when you go in the door, it's clean on the inside. On the in part to the order station is clean. From the kitchen side out, where they bring out your food, is coal black on a brownish tan floor. All the way out the door on the outside, it's coal black. You can see the transition from where the kitchen pulls all the crap through the place and out the front door, compared to when you come in. I used
to know the guy from Einstein's, and they used to keep them very clean. I haven't looked at one lately.
Not the kit insides. They don't. Insides they don't. They have spider webs against the windows.
I go through the drive-through on mine, man. I still admit I do. I still like Einstein's. I hate their coffee. Oh man, it's worse than Starbucks coffee. Yep. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Apparently, your wife likes it though.
No, actually, we like Black Rock. Black Rock I love Black Rock.
Black Rock, man, I enjoy it. There was one went up right by my house. You know, these EGs are coming now, and then I don't know about these custard places, but all these restaurants continue to open up, and
we got Angie's Lobsters coming in too. So I want to see who's going to be jumping on Angie's Lobster, and I don't know who does Black Rock, but they're pretty big here in town too. But
I love coffee shops. I love clean coffee shops.
Yeah, the one over by your house is pretty good.
It's easy dirt. It really is. It's just spilled coffee. It looks like hell, but it's really not a big deal. You know what I mean? Nope. You can make the sidewalks. But I haven't figured out where's that grease from the inside coming from a Starbucks. What, they're not cooking anything in there. And you see a lot of black. You think it's a syrup? It's a sticky syrup that they're spilling.
100%. I actually have some pictures of one by my house, and we talked to the manager, and the manager actually talked to the district, and the district says he doesn't think it's that bad right now. Well, if you had laced up your shoes and tried to walk on by the back door, your shoes would probably come off your feet. That's how bad this. And the district said it's not that bad.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite right now? Are you digging the gas stations? You liking what's your primary thing that you like to wash?
Primary today is gas stations. Next month we'll talk something totally different, but I'm not letting that 90 unit cat out of the bag yet.
90 units, man. That's a lot of restaurants, man.
Yeah, and that's monthly.
I know, there's a lot of restaurants. We may not see you next month.
Yeah, no, I like my 3 and 4 day weekend, so we'll see how that works. But
you ain't gonna have a 3 or 4 day weekend next month. Not when you first get it online. You know it's gonna take extra time.
Oh, a couple months.
You'll do it. Yeah, you'll do it in half the time the following month. But yeah, it's gonna take a long time. Long time. Well, Jeff, hey, we're about 26 minutes. I don't like to keep these things too long. any other sales tips you can give these guys if they're out there, whether they're young or whether they're old? Yeah, tell me something that you didn't learn till like later on in sales, and I'll tell my story on this too. Or you want me to go first?
It don't matter. It don't matter.
I'll go first. Okay. It was 1996, and I was on a plane coming back from my father's funeral, and I was reading this magazine called Forbes. I'm sure you guys have all heard of it. And it was giving the top 10 reasons the list of the top 10 reasons of what makes a salesman great. And I'm reading through that list on the plane, trying to get my spirits up, like, hey, number 1, that's me. Number 2, that's me. Number 3, that's me. Actually it was the backwards. It was 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And I got down to about the second one. And the second one was basically, no one is ever too busy to listen to what you have to say. And I paused at that one because all too often, and Jeff knows this because I know he's experienced it. You go into a restaurant and the restaurant is slammed and the manager's running around with his head cut off, and you're even questioning yourself to ask for him. You're like, this guy's really busy, man. I'm not going to get his attention. Maybe I shouldn't, or they're going to come up to you and automatically, the restaurant's not busy, but they come up to you and say, hey, I'm just too busy right now to deal with this. That's an objection that you cannot let get in your head.
Yep.
When those managers are busy and you bother them, you're going to find out you're going to get everything you want. And when that guy's not busy and he comes up and says he is busy, that's going to be the one that's tougher than the guy who actually is busy. And let me tell you something.
I agree.
Any decision maker that you're looking for in any one of these situations they're never too busy to listen to what you have to tell them. If you don't believe that what you have to say is more important than anything that day they can listen to, you should find yourself a 9-to-5 job because more than likely an entrepreneur, a person hiring, they're going to respect the confidence that you have, because when people say, hey, I'm not interested, I say, what time should I come back tomorrow? And they kind of double take you and look at you like, wait a minute, I just told you I was too busy to tell you. I said, well, what time would be better for you tomorrow? And sometimes they start laughing. They really do, Jeff. They start laughing because and I would train salespeople because they'd be like, the dude said he didn't want to talk to you, and you said, what time can I get? What time can we get an appointment tomorrow? And I go, if there's somebody, and here's the thing. Like Jeff was telling you, we're not looking for dirty places to try to clean. We're not trying to adjust people's attitudes. If these are customers that you want, and I'm gonna hit this home to you as far as sales goes. If it's a customer you want, you've got to go after them and get them. But this is only customers you want. Okay, you're not trying to throw shit up on the wall and see what sticks. If you think that that's what selling is about in this industry, you are absolutely lost. It is not. I choose my customers. I know that Jeff chooses his. What's your story, Jeff? Tell me one.
This is probably 5 or 6 years ago. I had a manager of a Chili's, and I was kind of pursuing them. I don't know why, but I was pursuing them. Yeah, it's just,
we got to tell them who they are, because people don't understand. Yeah. It's not Chili's, it's Brinker Corporation.
Yeah, Brinker International. They're out of Fort Worth, Texas, and you guys can have them too. But he said to me one day, he says, Jeff, I brought you on. He says, you're not pushy. He says, you always ask questions with questions. I'd say, hey, I'm too busy. I'd always say, it's just as Ron said, hey, can I call you tomorrow? Wouldn't be a good time tomorrow. And you got to realize from 11 o'clock until 1:30 in restaurants are really, really bad. And from 3:30 till it's usually my call point anyways, but is really bad for them. They don't want to talk with you. They don't have time to talk with you, literally. So you just go in, say, hey, how you doing? Let me grab one of your cards and I'll shoot you a message and leave it. It can be as small as that. And then just follow up when you say you're going to follow up, and you'll get them, because they'll be like, man, he's persistent and he says when he's going to be there. Always make a route. Always. If you're going to be there on a Wednesday, show up there on a Wednesday, not a Tuesday, because you think they'll be happy about it. You always show up when you say you're going to be there. And there's a classic case of a kid named Austin. He's probably listening to this, or he will listen to this. He took heed to what Ron, what I, and Marco, and all three of us did not know, that he had talked to all three of us separately. We all gave him exactly the same advice. And I don't want to say what he's making right now, but he's 27 years old. And if you want to call him, talk to Al Bundy, that's what I call him. Because he was literally a shoe salesman at Foot Locker. Probably one of the biggest inspirations. And my wife used to go to me all the time, how come you tell him what to do, but you're not implementing it yourself? I said, because I don't need to implement what I'm telling him to do. I already do that. And put it this way, he just put in a bid. Some people might know of 66 locations he was asked to bid for, just off a relationship from another company that another GM moved from.
Yeah. And that's a good thing about the restaurant business. They move around, and you need to get their personal contact information.
Yeah, and he never lost the other account. Now he's got another. He just shot me a message. He's like, holy crap, they want me to bid 66 locations. And he's just like me. You know, he hustles. He doesn't rip people off. He doesn't charge ridiculous.
We'll have to get Austin. Let's see if Austin will come on here with us. We'll get Austin on here next Wednesday, and we'll talk about sales with him. What do you say,
off,
Jeff?
man? He's definitely a go-getter. He's a young kid, and he's taking heed to what people said, and he's done well.
Hey, guys, Jeff Mays, guys. He's from Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix Power Wash Pros. Is that what it is? Is that the name of your company?
Sir.
All right. Guys, I appreciate Jeff coming on today, guys. I'm going to give one last tip in closing. You guys can chime in here. You can talk to Jeff. He'll answer questions for you as well. But I'm going to give you guys one last tip. This is the number one thing sales fail to do. It's not the follow-up. It is not the follow-up. Not following up is number two. Here's the mistake that salespeople make, and don't you dare call me and ask me. They put in a proposal. And they talk to the customer, and then they call me and ask me, Ron, when should I follow this up? I go, well, how the hell would I know? Ask them before you hang up, the phone. And then always make sure, number two, you follow that up when they say, hey, I'm deciding this in 2 weeks. Okay, I will call you, 2 weeks from today. No, I'll call you a couple days before 2 weeks from today, because you don't want to call them on the day they made the decision. You want to call them a couple days before they made the decision.
Exactly.
That's the number one thing that salespeople make a mistake on. I got number 3, 4, and 5. We're going to leave those for later shows. Maybe Jeff and I will make a regular thing about this, guys. Guys, we appreciate you guys coming out. Thanks again for coming out, Jeff. Guys, Pressure Washing Institute, Ron Musgrave's contract